Come on down, Eric. You are the next contestant on Flirting with Realities. I am your host tonight, Carol, and we are here in Battleground. How are you this evening?
Good. Just eating some dried fruit.
Yeah, looks delicious.
It is delicious. I never let myself have dried fruit, so I'm kind of indulging.
We're just super comfortable tonight. I'm having tea and he's having dried fruit. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to our reality.
I'm kind of at that point where, like, my diet is started to stumble, and I haven't corrected it, and so I'm just kind of like at that point where it's like, okay, fine then.
Yeah.
Let's just let it go a little bit.
I know that feeling. Mine's not fabulous, but I'm just not eating enough. But I'll get back to it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I'm eating healthy. I just am not really eating very much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess letting myself go is dried.
Yeah,
fruit.
dried fruit. Yeah, that's not.
That I dried myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's always kind of like, is it an indication of how your life's going?
If you let things go a little bit.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, but sometimes I don't think it's related to how your life is going.
Yeah, sometimes I think diets are weird to me because diets can go up and down, but it's kind of like the diets go up and down with your life at the same time, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. But like I've had diet like changes and nothing is changing in my life. But for sure diet is impacted with your life.
Your life impacts your diet.
Yeah.
Your diet impacts your life.
Yeah.
Well,
it does. Like you want to optimize your life, optimize your diet. But like you said, you're sliding with some dried fruit that isn't even from the store. It's from your tree on your property.
yeah, but it's been more than that too, though, you know. And I think the problem is I think for me, if I indulge more than once a week cheat meal, that's when it really like starts getting hard. You know, like maybe like yesterday I was with my kids and they had Chinese food and I had a bite of like their sesame chicken. And it's like just that one bite makes you want to just go, okay, screw it. I'm going to like eat a whole plate of Chinese food. You just kind of lose it, and then the next day it's like nothing tastes good that you're normally eating anymore. Now you want to get back into the sugar, and you want like a corn dog, or I don't know what you want. Like you want like something not so good. And it's like you got to like redirect course. But sometimes I feel like you just got to kind of just let it go, and kind of have a party with it and let it be and let it do its thing. Maybe gain some weight and then get back on track.
Yeah, I never feel like having Chinese food. I'm kind of lucky in that sense. Like I do definitely have times where my diet is loose, but never Chinese food loose.
But I think this run of mine has been pretty long. I think I've been pretty straight since we got back from Europe for like a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe more than that.
You've been really strict on your diet for quite a while.
But it's kind of funny. So, I think if anybody's watching and they struggle with their diet, I've been quote unquote dieting for 10 years. A constant, never letting off, basically, like having some down times, but never letting off. But it's kind of like it goes in the beginning. It's like, well, I had 80 pounds to lose. So in the beginning, it was 8 months of like extreme exercise, extreme diet, calorie deficit. So it was serious. But then all of a sudden you lose that weight and you're down to the weight you want to be, and then it's like brownies and cookies and like that's like stereotypically what you do. But that's where I changed this time 10 years ago, is I was like, oh, that's not what I'm doing this time. I'm going to maintain, which means I'm not going to eat like crap. But there still was a little bit like getting back into it. So there's like uh your level, and then it goes kind of like, oh, you lose it, and then you like kind of like you're on the roller coaster. But the roller coaster over time gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think that's where I'm at. Is like I'm at a year and a half of dieting when I don't need to. So I think I'm just like I'm on my roller coaster, but hopefully this roller coaster lasts like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm back on it. So you know what I mean, like smaller bumps in the road.
I guess I look at it kind of backwards from the way you look at it. I look at it more like the way I eat is my lifestyle. And if I'm deciding to splurge a bit, that's to me a diet that I'm changing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you don't have the same issues I do.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I am. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but a lot of me would just love to eat ice cream every meal and like chicken strips. And the only reason I don't, well, I don't want to. I don't want to be unhealthy, but I also don't want to feel like crap. So that's what drives me. But the desire is still there most of the time, and I think that's the difference between me. I don't think you have
Yeah,
a strong desire.
I don't.
Like I would love a bag of like Tim's jalapeno like potato chips right now. Like hell yeah.
Yeah, you guys
Yes,
had those nachos last week. I wanted nothing to do with it.
yeah.
And it's not that I don't ever have chips. I will, but it's just, I mean, it's not very often.
Yeah. So I think you're blessed.
I
In that
am.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty easy for me. It doesn't take a lot of willpower. It's just the way I am.
And my kombucha and dried fruit.
Kombucha's super healthy.
Yeah, sugar-free kombucha.
Gut health. I'm sure that that's good for your gut. Your dried fruit.
Yeah. I only have the one bag of dried plums left, but
Yeah.
plums are coming back on.
Oh my
So.
gosh, they're so delicious. Just dried, dehydrated from directly from the tree. Amazing.
Yeah, we had a bunch of cherries this year, but they're all disappearing. I think the birds are eating them. So I was really looking forward to the cherries too, but yeah. So anyway, what has been going on? Oops, I kicked the camera. What has been going on in your life, Carly?
Well, I'm healing from this tendon tear in my elbow. Um, so that's been a little switcheroo in my life, not being able to like work out the way I'd like to. But I mean, I think it's kind of good for me at the same time. I think it was about time after, years of pushing myself to just maybe be like, it's okay that you're not lifting weight for a while. So there's that. And gosh, there's our cream that we're making together that we'll be selling soon, which has been really fucking excited. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed doing that. Our field trips to stores to look at what's out there and how we can improve and make our shit better. So there's that. That's exciting to me. I've actually been doing a free master program with Deepak Chopra on being a good leader. So I've been doing that and still meditating, cold bath, sauna. But I have to say, I've had some sort of like switch go on with, how I was like occasionally having a hard time with people who are grumpy at the store. I realized like a switch went off. If I become grumpy, then I'm not helping the energy of the world in any sort of way. So if I come from a place of love, then my love is being put back out into the universe.
Yeah.
And it really just helped me. It doesn't mean I like being like almost ran over or scowled at, but it's a different like feeling that comes from that. It's more of a, well, I choose to love you anyway, and I wish you happiness. So that's something new in my life.
Yeah, I don't think it's beneficial to ever join the dark side. I don't think it gives
No,
you anything.
luckily, it's not something that will like ruin my day or wasn't, but it was giving me enough bad mojo that I didn't want to partake in it. So I'm super happy I figured that out.
Yeah. Well, something I've been thinking a lot about is kind of what you brought up first. Your arm's been hurt, and that kind of takes you away from working out, which kind of takes you away from being 1,000%. It's like there's these things that come up in life, and that's what I feel like, kind of like I've been dealing with. Like I got basically feel like I got scammed this morning. Somebody like took a credit card and bought like $1,300 worth of stuff,
Yeah.
and then they put it on this lady's credit card, and then the lady figured out, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't buy this stuff," and since she didn't buy it, I'm the one that gets to pay for it apparently. But it really bummed me out, and so I've just been thinking about these things and how you can get caught up in just these things that negatively affect your life, and you can follow them if you want, but I think when you look back on it, and that's what I was telling you this morning, I think you look back on it and you're just like, oh, it wasn't really that big of a deal. Even like the most tragic times of my life, like they were a kind of a big deal, but it's like everything's just a plan and everything's just like, whatever. And I feel like you just gotta kind of roll with it. You know, it's just like life's gonna give you these ups and downs, and
For sure. There's an ebb and flow to us all.
yeah, and
It's
if
just,
if you learn to appreciate all of it, then I think that's the secret of life to me, because you only have so many seconds left on your clock, and if you're like bumming about half of those seconds you got left, you just wasted half of those seconds. So it's like I think you gotta just have gratitude, but you know,
yeah, I'm super proud you came to that realization because I have to tell you, I wanted to say something like that to you when you were talking to me this morning, but I really decide to come from a supportive look. If you plant a seed, that's one thing, but if you're not being supportive when someone's going through something like that and you're like,
yeah.
you have all this and you have all that, it's just I think the person needs to realize it themselves. And I'm super proud that you realize those things on your own.
Well, but I think it's a bit like grieving somebody's death. You know what I mean? Like, if your grandpa died, and I'm like, hey, cheer up. You got another grandpa. Like, or like some stuff. It's like, I mean, it's just not appropriate until like you got to listen to him cry about it, and you got to listen to be sad, and like maybe in a couple months, that's when we start cheering. It's like you got to go through this like grieving and this like you got to go through the emotions, and just having somebody steal $1,300 from you when you could use the money is just a bummer.
Yeah.
That's the part that really gets to me, but and then it's just like people can be gross, and and then I'm like, the whole world's blowing up, and
Yeah.
it's just a lot. But it's like I just need my couple minutes to like pout, and then it's like, okay, like everything, like look around, everything's fine, everything's fine. Lost some money, but win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
true.
So I don't know. It's just, but I think that's the thing is you can get caught up in aspects of your life. But I think that's what gratitude is looking at everything you do have. I mean, think about if you would have got a cold right now, you'd be wishing you didn't have a cold. You should be grateful for your health right now.
Yeah.
Just that one thing. But we have so much good stuff going on. And I really think that most people in the world have a lot. I mean, there's some people with some rough lives, but most people have a lot of good things going on. And I think as bad as it seems, like you got to start thinking about the cup being half full.
I think it's like what we talk about. Like, what is reality?
Well, what is your mindset too? And there's some similarities with your diet makes you who you are, and you make your diet. It's like that same thing. I think you always gotta top up your gratitude, and you gotta choose to be that grateful person because if you lose that, that's the downward spiral, and then next thing you know, you just hate life and you're mad about everything. When really you could have just got your stuff together when it was like a bad thing happened in your life, but your life was still good, and you could have just recouped that. But easier said than done sometimes.
It is, but it's like you said, if you look back at tough times, there's lessons to be learned, and it is easier said than done. But
Yeah. Well, like you're saying, tough times too. Do you ever get in a position where you feel like maybe life's too easy or maybe it's too boring, and then you mix it up just to make it more difficult? Have you ever done that?
I think I used to naturally do that. Like, just,
Not consciously.
no, just, I mean, I've told you the amount of things I used to take on was like a lot. And, but I don't think I do it anymore.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that's one of the reasons I sold my business. Like there's like a boredom of it, and like everything was going too good, and I like challenges, I guess. And so I had to remind myself of that the other day. I had to remind myself of like, well, I'm in this position
Because
that I
you put
wanted.
yourself
Yeah, I wanted to
there.
be in this position. I wanted to push myself and challenge myself, and I was like, well, that's what I'm doing right now. This is the middle of it, and this is actually the part that I enjoy because when this goes away and I figure it all out and it gets easier, then I try to get back here,
Yeah.
which is a funny part. I enjoy the chaos, I guess. But I think getting older that might be changing. I
Yeah,
kind of
it
like,
changed for me after I finished school in 2017. I something just switched.
you know,
So it's been a little while that I mean, I always would do, like, I'd do the Spartan race. I was always doing something, but I've even chilled out more than that.
yeah. But I don't know. I'm pretty excited about this yam cream that we're going to start selling, and these other creams we're going to start selling because that's I don't know. It just sounds like fun again, even if it's easy. I guess I'm looking at this one in a different light of how to. Because that's what I was telling you before when I ran my business. I realized the mistakes I made, which was not getting help, not hiring people, but it was kind of hard to do that in that business because there was like a skill set you needed to have, and most people don't have that skill set. But this one is like, I think you can look at it and you can go, oh, like this is all like very scalable, and it's super interesting to think about. So, and I feel like we're learning some very valuable things here, even though nothing is getting done really. In fact, things are getting done in the last 2 weeks, but
It was a slow process for sure.
well, we had to learn what I feel like I've always known my whole life is I just can't count on other people. I just got to do things myself. But that's what I'm saying is I think this is scalable because I feel like I'm starting to see how to get things done, but not do everything myself. But I mean, we'll see. You know, it'll be interesting. I'm excited to check some things out with you and see how it goes. And we should be starting up in
Few weeks.
a week or two, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody's interested. And I actually really like what we're doing. The
I do
idea
too.
of what we're doing is
Yeah.
like um, natural healing, basically for serious things such as menopause or
Which is very serious.
it is.
It is. I can attest to that. I've been going through that for a year and didn't even know what it was for a while.
Losing your mind is a big deal.
Losing your mind, losing your strength, losing your body, like
Yeah, it's a giant deal.
huge, huge deal. You're losing your personality,
Yeah,
not
no,
knowing who you are. Yeah, it's
it's a serious problem, but and then we've got the male version too.
for sure.
Lack of testosterone, tackle that, and then other things that we try to research because we're not huge into the medical community anymore. That prescriptions and stuff like that. So we're kind of attacking them from a natural avenue, which that's what I'm saying. Like thyroid and blood pressure and all those things. And it's like, man, that's super exciting to not only think about having a business where you can do all that, but to help people at the same time is like
Yeah, with their wellness and their sanity and their issues that are like stressing them out and giving them anxiety and
costing them money
possibly
and
like not have or getting off maybe a pharmaceutical or not having to take one to begin with, which may have, well, usually has a ton of side effects. And yeah, it's very exciting.
but it's cool because it's kind of like what you and I wanted to do where um you were trying to like get into like coaching people for diet and exercise and stuff, which would have been super awesome. But and I kind of had those dreams too of like helping people financially, but it's like kind of hard to reach people in those
Especially
ways.
especially since we're not huge on the social media.
Yeah. But this is interesting because pretty much everybody's willing to rub a cream on themselves or a tincture. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, here now we got a open door where we could actually help people in a different way where they want to be helped.
Yeah.
And so
Where it's
that's,
really going to be impactful on their lives.
yeah. I mean, so that's exciting to be able to find a way when you want to help people to find a way that you actually can.
It is.
And all natural and all cheap, side effect free. Like
Yeah.
it's fun to learn. I think it's right up here in my alley where we like to obsess about health and things like that.
It is up our alley.
You know,
And there's so many things out there, like ancient things that have been around for thousands of years that kind of just the waters have been muddied with, you know, big
information.
pharma and yeah, information.
But then to learn how to do creams and stuff and like how to get like a really solid, good, like a quality product, like that's a fun part too, is not just slinging crap, but actually like have a good quality product where you're like, yeah, I'll stand behind this all day.
Yeah, when you're really putting your heart and soul into it and you want it to feel good and look good and smell good or not smell or yeah, it's super exciting.
You know,
Yeah, I actually enjoyed all of that process.
yeah,
Extremely fun.
yeah. So interesting. We done very long here. We're at 25 minutes. Um, I guess we could talk about more stuff, but I don't know. Is there anything else you got you're thinking about? Want to do a 25-minute and see what
Yeah,
happens?
let's cut it short. Maybe we can
Yeah.
get way more comments. Come on, guys. Let
Yeah.
us know what you think.
Yeah, we can see all 10 of you watching.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it till next week, I guess. We'll have
Thanks
more
for
to say.
stopping by.
Okay.